All right, let's dive in. We're talking about a huge shift coming to Kenya's roads. A brand new set of rules set to roll out in 2025 is going to completely change how fuel is transported. So, what exactly is changing? I mean, just stop and think about it. Every single day, right? Thousands of fuel tankers are out there on our roads, and they're carrying some seriously flammable stuff. So, how do we make sure they're operating safely? That the vehicles are in good shape and the drivers are genuinely qualified? Well, that is the core question these new regulations are built to answer.
The big idea here is to build a safety system with multiple layers of protection. See, it's not just about the truck or just about the driver. It's about creating a whole ecosystem of accountability. And to break it all down, we're going to use a really simple three-pillar structure.
So, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with a quick overview, then we'll jump into those three key pillars: getting the business licensed, getting the vehicles permitted, and making sure that drivers are certified. After that, we'll look at the actual safety rules for when they're on the road, and then we'll zoom out and talk about what this whole thing really means.
Okay, let's get into it. The ultimate goal of all these regulations is to create this unbroken chain of responsibility, one that stretches all the way from the company's main office right down to the person behind the wheel. So yeah, this is the official name. I know, it's a bit of a mouthful, but what it boils down to is pretty simple. If you want to move fuel on Kenyan roads, your business, your trucks, and your drivers all have to be checked out and approved by the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority. It's designed to be a complete, airtight system. Okay, so let's get to our first pillar. This is the bedrock of the whole system, the company itself. Before a single drop of fuel even gets loaded, the business has to be fully licensed and totally compliant. And Regulation 4 is crystal clear about this. This is not optional, it's not a suggestion, it is the absolute first hurdle. Without this license, you just can't be in the business of hauling fuel on Kenya's roads, period. The process itself is laid out really clearly. You fill out a specific form, you get all your paperwork together, you sign a promise to protect the environment, and you pay the fee. This kind of structured approach is all about making sure every single applicant meets the same high standard right from the get-go. And you can see just how serious they are here. The authorities want to know everything. Who owns the company? Are your taxes paid up? And, this is a big one, do you have a real plan for when things go wrong? That emergency plan is a critical piece of the puzzle. And get this, the license isn't a one-and-done deal. It's only valid for 24 months. That means this isn't just a single check. Companies are going to have to prove they're still up to snuff every 2 years if they want to stay in business. Okay, so the business is licensed. Great. But what about the actual trucks on the road? Well, that brings us to pillar number 2, the tankers themselves.
Say it, just having a business license isn't good enough. The law says each vehicle needs its own individual permit. That means every single truck has to be proven safe and roadworthy on its own. If you've got a fleet of 50 trucks, you need 50 permits. Simple as that.
And the requirements for each vehicle are just as tough. You need the usual stuff, of course, like inspection and registration papers, but look at those last two. A certificate to prove the tank's volume is accurate, and proof of a working GPS tracker. That tracking requirement, that is a huge step forward for keeping an eye on things and for accountability. And just like the business license, the vehicle permit is also only good for 2 years. This makes sure that every truck is re-inspected and recertified on a regular schedule, not just once when it's brand new. So, we've got a licensed business and a permitted tanker. What's missing? Well, maybe the most important part of all, the person who's actually driving that thing. So let's look at our third and final pillar. This is a massive step up in terms of professionalism. Under Regulation 17, a standard heavy truck license just doesn't cut it anymore. Drivers now have to hold a special certificate that proves they're qualified for this specific and, let's face it, hazardous job. So, how do drivers get one of these certificates? It's not just about having the right class of license. The key here is that professional certificate. Drivers have to prove they've had specialized training from a recognized institution. This ensures they know how to handle petroleum products safely, not just how to drive the truck. Okay, so we have our 3 pillars: the licensed business, the permitted tanker, and the certified driver. Now, how does this all come together on a day-to-day basis? This next part is all about the operational rules that dictate every single trip. This document, the journey plan, is what ties all those safety measures together for each individual trip. Required by Regulation 10, it's not a suggestion, It's a formal, signed document that basically acts as the blueprint for a safe and compliant delivery. And the rules inside this plan are incredibly specific. They're designed to tackle driver fatigue, which we all know is a huge cause of accidents. You can't drive more than 4 hours without a break. You have to take at least a 30-minute rest, and there's a hard limit of 10 driving hours in any 24-hour period. It even spells out the exact route and where the driver is allowed to stop.
You can really see here how the rules are so clearly split. The business takes care of the big picture stuff, making plans, making sure everyone's compliant, and getting the paperwork ready. The driver is responsible for the execution, following that plan to the letter, doing the pre-trip checks, and making sure the vehicle and its cargo are safe on the road. It really is a shared responsibility.
So, after digging into all those details, let's pull back for a second. Let's look at the big picture. What's the total effect of all these new regulations? What does this new system actually create? It all comes back to these three pillars, right? You have the legal foundation with the business license, you have the safe, trackable equipment with the tanker permit, and you have the skilled, certified professional with the driver's certificate. By making all three mandatory, the system closes those dangerous loopholes and makes sure there are no weak links in the chain.
And that really is the ultimate question, isn't it? The framework is incredibly thorough. It touches every part of the industry. The goal is clearly to start a new era of safety and professionalism. The big question for the future is how effectively will this tight web of rules be enforced on the ground? And will it truly deliver a safer reality for everyone on Kenya's roads?